Hey there, today we're talking about the Powerball bracket replacement for the Navigator Pro. So this is the power bracket and these are the Powerballs in there. Alright, let's get into it. So all you're going to need is a 2.5mm Allen key and your spare part. The Powerballs come already assembled, snapped into place in this power bracket. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pull the landing line. Pull that right through until we get to this join. Just push those two together. You'll be able to pry those loop to loops apart. Keep on pulling on the landing line. Put it through the end of the loop of the flying line there. We can put that aside for now. So pull onto this little fixed line on the other front flying line. And we can pull those apart also. Be careful with this little one, put that aside also, don't lose that. And now you can pull that front flying line out. It's going to want to run away on us. And we can pull this one through also. Okay, so now we want to take the trim handle apart. So we're going to use our 2.5mm Allen key and just back this screw off, this little grub screw. You don't have to take it all the way out, just unwind it until it's allowing that little ball just to slide up out of the way. Now wiggle the trim line, give it a bit of a twist. Okay, so now I'm just going to undo this figure 8. Push one side of it and it sort of loosens it up. Okay, so once that's off we can put those aside also. So this little ball is sometimes a little bit difficult to get over this bungee, but just give it a good pull. Okay, so now keep in mind which way this power bracket is, and we want, when the bar's facing up with the red on the left, we also want this power bracket with the red ball on the left also. So just note we're threading up from the back side of the power bracket. So we're going to get the new one and do that same orientation. So the reason you might be replacing this is if you see some sort of excessive wear on where the trim line goes through the little pulley, or perhaps some of these balls, either of these balls are damaged, and in that case we would definitely recommend getting a replacement. You should have there should be replacements at your local store, or if not then you can get them through northkb.com. So just thread that trim line back through, making sure we're coming up from the cleat base through the back, around the front, and then back through the cleat itself. So we'll just pop this ball back on, having the narrow part, putting that on first. That's the part that seats up inside the cleat. So pull that up. It's going to take a little bit to just pull over that bungee again. Pull that up out of the way. And thread this in through the trim handle. Sometimes I double that little bit of mark cloth over to make it push through easier. Pull that out, give yourself plenty of space, pull those right out of the way, and we're going to do that figure of 8, not on the end of here again. So I'm just making a loop, going around the line and coming back up through itself. So at this stage, I'm going to try and leave that little tail just inside the knot, so it's all a bit clean and tidy. And see the end of the mark cloth there? I want that to just be outside the end of the figure of 8. Then pull that nice and tight, and then we can just slide that whole thing back inside this trim handle. Give that a good pull and it slips inside. You can use the tool if you want just to tuck that bit of mark cloth inside so it's not flapping around. Okay, so slide your ball back down, and the position of this ball is just above that piece of bungee. So slide it up to the bungee, and you want to have about 15mm gap here between the ball and the trim handle. Now the reason we do that is that when the trim handle is pulled right up to the cleat, it allows the trim handle to be closer to reach. So if I pull that back through at this stage, if you didn't have the ball, then the trim handle, when it pulled up, would be sticking directly straight out, making it further away from the rider. Whereas having that allows it to flop down and makes it closer. Okay, so let's get the rest back together. I'm going to grab my ends, making sure I've still got them around the right way. You can just loop a line through here, which will make it a bit easier to pull through the Powerball. Thread those through, so it's at the end, and just give it a bit of a pull. So this is our fixed side, our right hand side of the black ball. And so we're going to get this little loop and just feed the end of the flying line through, open up that loop and pull the little end. We want to make sure that's nice and tight, little loop to loop connection. And you can pull on the line, that guy pulls back inside there. Okay, so now for the left hand side. Thread that through the red side. So this ball's red, just so when you're running your lines out, it gives you an easy indication of which side's left, because with an auto unwinding bar, you don't get the option to just unspin your front lines. The way you set it up is the way that it will remain for your complete session. So it's good to remember to have it around the right way, then your cleat is going to be facing towards you. So I'm just pushing on this flying line. You could use a piece of line through there or a piece of fishing line if you needed to, but this line's pretty new, so it's easy enough to just feed through. So I'm going to open up that loop. I'll feed my line through, and then over the end of the landing line swivel and ball, and tighten that up. Once again, we want this to be a nice clean loop to loop connection, making sure nothing's twisted. Once it's good, give that a firm pull together, and then reach above the power bracket again and just pull that landing line back up and through. Okay, so that's your new Powerball bracket installed and ready to go. So get out there.